Hey everybody, welcome. This is a reading vlog, if you will, a video log of what I just read. And I kind of dove into this book here. It's called Managing Oneself. I know it's not in focus. Let me get that. Boom. Managing Oneself. This is a little tiny book. And for those of you who don't know me or the channel, I read a lot of books. And I'm going to try something new here where I just kind of talk about what I've read briefly as I've just digested it. So I mean, there's no script, there's no formal video here. This is me just kind of going over this book and what I've kind of digested. So I just read it. It probably took like 30 minutes to read. It's about 50 pages. They're short pages. I mean, if you look at them here, short book, right? Short, sweet book by Peter F. Drucker. It's a Harvard Business Review book. Peter F. Drucker has written like 30 something books. I don't know if he's passed away now. He's really old. He was kind of in the 1930s when he was kind of getting into investment banking in Europe. And so he's kind of explained some of the things that he's learned over his career. And this book is really good. I think that this book is very underrated. I think it's like $10 on Amazon. And I think that there's a lot of self-help books that try to do the same thing in a lot more pages and very much more inefficient. And really the basic premise of this book, as I interpreted it, was that we have to figure out what our strengths are. And this is me talking to myself, is that a lot of us think we know what our strengths are, but oftentimes we are very wrong. And the only way to really learn what our strengths are is through some kind of feedback analysis. So for example, that's just a fancy term, but setting a goal for 6 months, seeing if you reach it. If you don't reach it, why didn't you reach it? Was it because you didn't have the strength to do it? It wasn't a strong suit for you? You failed. Why did you fail? And so analyzing this kind of back end is how we can become great at things and how we can kind of push ourselves in our career. Another really big thing this pointed out for me was that a lot of us want to be successful, yet we don't clearly know what success means to us. This is especially for myself, I've spent enough time understanding why I want it and what is the perfect success picture. I think a lot of us can just jump to something like money, like yacht, like super nice house in the hills and not have to worry about money. But I still don't think that the fulfillment is there. I think you have to figure out something that you can stick to that has an impact that you can contribute to people. And so that led me down a whole different path of kind of trying to analyze myself and my life. And it was really nice. Even though I haven't gotten a lot of clarity, I have some kind of starting point and direction, which is why this is happening right now. Another big piece that he goes into is he's talking about, how do you learn? Especially, how do you learn? Are you a reader? Are you a listener? Very few people are both. And he gives some good examples of each one of those. But I mean, myself, I'm a reader, obviously, but some people are listeners. Some people are listeners, Some people don't like to read, and then maybe that's why I'm doing a vlog like this. Maybe I'm doing a reading vlog to help get that material out to people who don't like to read and who are notorious for putting things off. And so I think that's another great example. Another one he brings up is, are you a writer? Do you write? Are you better at reading and writing rather than speaking and kind of navigating that space? How do you digest your material? What kind of impact can you leave knowing whether you're a reader or a writer and how you digest your material? How can all of that bleed into something a bit more fruitful? And so he kind of goes along this path and talks about career choices. I mean, he talks about that, in the past, people didn't have to decide what they want to do. They were just told, you're going to be a blacksmith. You're going to be a person that makes clothing. And they just do it. You just do it for however long. There was no idea of career or end or time. It was just, you do this and that's what you do. That's how you're identified. But now where we live in this society, in this capitalistic society, especially in the United States, you kind of have to pick what you want to do, which is good and bad. Before there was no second guessing it. There was no, am I doing this wrong? I mean, is this in my strength point? You just kind of do it and you got to figure it out. And so he goes into that direction of how do you figure out what you want to do, given that you know what your strengths are, given that you know how you learn. If you know that you're not good at managing people, don't opt in for a managerial position. Don't try to become a boss if you can't deal with the consequences of making bigger decisions. And so these are some tough questions and kind of guidance that he gives us throughout the book. And it kind of ends up talking about how do you manage the back half of your life? How do you manage, what you really enjoy? Some people who are in labor, he says, that they can just sit back, they retire, they're like, I'm just going to enjoy 20 years of nothing until I die. Whereas other people who are knowledge workers, if you will, maybe professors, the people that are consultants, these kind of people, their career much longer than 20, 30, 40 years. They do it till they die. And so you have to figure out, okay, well, what do I want to do now that I've reached the peak of my career? How do I figure out how to have an enjoyable life? I mean, there's no more going up for me. I've kind of maxed out this. And so he said that most people max out their career when they're about 45, especially business executives. So how do I manage the downslope? How do I, create new opportunities? Do I start a nonprofit? Do I work in the government? How do I contribute to people? How do I have some kind of purpose? And I think these are all really great questions that he brings up. And I wanted to share that with you. I mean, I know this is just a quick video log of the book, but again, Managing Oneself by Peter F. Drucker. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the book. If you've read it or if you want to pick it up, I think it's a great one. I think it's good if you're maybe if you're in college going into the workforce, or if you're in the workforce and working in the wrong industry and you hate your job and you don't know why. This could be a perfect pickup. It could really help with trying to figure out what is the best route to take, and just overall managing your relationships, managing your workplace, and having a fruitful job that brings opportunities to you, and that's in your sweet spot, that's in your skill zone. So thanks so much. Peace.